Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lando's Lessons. It is good to see y'all. Apologies for a little bit of a late upload. I've been a little bit busy on my normal recording days, which not a bad thing, just throws off the schedule a little bit. So, happy to be back. Yeah, just wanted to get into, as you can see in the title, a little discussion on the, I guess, whirlpool of self-help, and when you're trying to grow and trying to develop and evolve. Um, just the influx of knowledge that you take in can be overwhelming at times. And whoo, good lord, as much as it's a benefit, it can also be a detriment. So it's all about balance, just like everything else in life. So I want to talk about that today because uh, made a decision a little while ago just to test the waters on a theory of mine, and came up with some interesting results. So basically, I think we've all gotten to the point, whether you're actively making a change, whether you want to make a change, or whether you're just coming across something on a whim when you're scrolling through your phone or looking through your apps, whatever, where you're diving into a self-help hole, whether it be losing weight, or obtaining wealth, or getting out of debt, or working on your mental health, or rebuilding a relationship spiritually, or being the best version of you, or there's so many ways to improve oneself when you're ready to take that step. And one of the things that I have been doing over the years is diving into that aspect of just not opinion gathering, gaining perspective. That's a good way of putting it. Gaining perspective. Especially when making a dramatic change or a shift in thinking, sometimes you need that extra push, or someone else to open up your eyes to another way of seeing things, especially when you've been focused and looking at things in one perspective for so long. So when you dive into these self-help videos, it is an instant benefit in the sense that you are getting a new perspective. You are learning some of the best habits that people have learned along the way, avoiding some of the pitfalls that they have maybe gone through themselves. That's what I hope to achieve with these videos to a degree. But there's, just like with anything, there's a sense of balance that must be accomplished with this. There are two things I want to talk about when it comes to the self-help cycle. The self-help vortex is what I'm going to call it this time, while we address the more detrimental sides of self-help, which is first and foremost, and one that is most commonly known, especially, I think I've talked about it previously on other videos, but it is the gaining information but doing nothing with it vortex. So you're diving into all these videos, you're buying all these books, you're listening to all these podcasts, you're loving the TED Talks, but when it comes to getting all this information, you're learning so much, but what are you actually doing to apply it to your life? How much of that information are you actually putting into practice? These things happen so frequently, in the sense of you gaining information but not applying it. There's plenty of people who talk about this, where they're mentioning the dopamine fix, where you're feeling like you're achieving because you're watching other people achieve. You're watching other people do the things that you want to do. For example, right now in the middle of trying to make a weight loss transformation, I could dive into all these exercise techniques. I can dive into the 600-pound lifes of the world. I was 400 and I'm down to 220, and this is how I got there. But if I'm not applying that to my life, if I'm not applying my diet and my exercise and the routine, then am I gonna actually accomplish any of that, or am I just gaining encouragement through the hard work that others have put in without putting forth the full amount of effort myself? There is there are levels to this, obviously. You can easily take in all this information and then start applying it to your life, but the amount that you're applying forth or putting forth is gonna, equate to your results. So you've got to be able to dive in full-heartedly, or at least incrementally increase little by little, so that you can get to the point where you can reach to that plateau of going full and staying consistent. And when you're getting that dopamine fix, when you're getting that sense of fulfillment because you're watching other people achieve what you want to achieve, you're missing out. And I'm talking from experience here. It's something that I have been guilty of a lot more in the past when I started all this addressing some of these issues. But even now, I have to examine myself and make sure. Yeah, I learned all this, but what did I do this week? How many times did I work out this week? Did I read my Bible this week? Did I make sure I called my family, or did I talk to any friends this week? You have to make sure that you're actually putting forth genuine effort, and getting caught up in that self-help cycle, that vortex, is not going to do you any justice when it comes to your outcome, your results. So, first and foremost, and one that is commonly talked about, don't let yourself get caught up in feeling fulfilled through other people's hard work. Because at the end of the day, all these people are doing are trying to help others by instilling the lessons and the habits that they've learned along the way, so that you can hopefully achieve the dreams that you want to, that they have already, went through the nitty-gritty for. That being said, if you're not putting forth that effort, if you're just taking in that dopamine fix, that sense of fulfillment from watching other people do what you want to do, it's just going to cause a sense of stagnation. Stagnation is the death of men, as I say over and over again. This is not a way to live your life if you hope to be able to achieve what you want to achieve really and truly. So, don't get caught up in that cycle. Don't get caught up in that vortex of dopamine and fulfillment through others' successes. If you're going to take in all this information, you got to make sure that you're applying it as well. If you're not applying it right now, that's fine. You're still taking in information, but at least start building systems. Start putting a plan together. Use that information for more than just a passing of time, more than just a sense of satisfaction, a blip of dopamine. There's a reason why this information is out there. We are truly blessed to have this information age, but how we utilize it is the biggest factor that we have to consider when it comes to self-development and growth. Now, number 2, and one that I had to learn relatively recently, and I don't think it's talked about nearly as much. I guess I did hear about it, so who knows? I haven't been looking for it. But another pitfall, another problem with the vortex that is self-help, is that you have all these videos, all these books, all these podcasts that are giving you information, that are showing you how to live your best life, who are showing you the secrets and everything that you need to become the best version of you and to live out your dreams. But one thing that a lot of people don't think about is, just like that influencer who's in Bali and living their best life, and everything you see from them is at a vacation spot and they are living their best life and everything, those videos, these self-help videos, have an effect on your mental. They have an effect on your physical well-being. Seeing everyone do what you want to do, but you're not doing it, can be a detriment. It can beat you up. And as someone who religiously, pun intended, religiously was consuming self-help content at a level that was borderline unhealthy, because I was so focused on fixing certain things in my life. Like, it was a routine. Certain videos I watched, certain creators I watched, things of that nature. I wasn't appreciating the moments that were, the milestones that were reached, the moments that were had, along the way. I was always thinking about, well, this person has a perfect morning routine. Well, this person's working out 6 days a week. I'm only knocking out 3 to 4. Well, this person can quote the Bible back and forth, and I barely struggle with John 3:16. Like, this person's relationship with their family is where I want to be. This person has a circle of friends that not only love each other and want to see them do their best, but they're pushing each other forward at a level that I didn't know existed. There's all these things that you want to achieve, that you dream to have, and you'll see it accomplished by others, and it can eat you alive, because while you're working your way up to something, you're looking so far ahead at people who already accomplished their goal. You're on FOMO mode. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's a better way of putting it. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses. And with some reflection, you can, and heck, most of the people document their journey along the way. You see that it takes steps. You see that they didn't get there instantly. That's not how the world works. That's not how self-improvement works. We can only be so lucky. But when you start comparing yourself, you start stealing the joy from yourself. You start stealing happiness from yourself. You don't appreciate the milestones that you have reached and accomplished along the way. And that is effed. And I had to realize that. I have spent so long since making this journey, diving into these videos, into these books, and not buying stuff and not even getting into it because I haven't finished the last thing. And it just eats away at you. You become more stressed trying to improve yourself than you did when you were wallowing in shit. It's crazy. So I had to take a step back. I told myself I was going to cut out on watching the videos I watch. I was going to limit how much I spent on the videos, books, what have you. Podcasts, what have you. I was going to just cut that back and still do what I need to do. I was still going to try to maintain a diet. I was still going to make sure I got my workouts in. I was still going to focus on the goals that I have currently and just keep doing that. But I was going to cut back on the amount of content I was taking in. And what did I notice? I noticed that I felt less stressed. I noticed that I felt more focused and in the moment when I was doing certain things. I noticed that during my workouts, I wasn't focused on how many reps I could do, but I was focused on the quality of my reps. I wasn't comparing myself to the pristine Greek god who was showing me this routine and trying to keep up with that. I was like, okay, well, if this is what I can do, I'm going to make sure what I can do is perfect. And I'll keep doing that, and I'll improve steadily that way. And that was so much more freeing, man. I didn't realize how much extra stress came along with trying to replicate exactly how all these self-help gurus were putting out their information. And that's not a fault of theirs. That's a fault of the viewer, of myself, of taking in all this information and expecting it to be just like them, if not better, with zero hesitation. I once again was getting in my own way. And we do this without even realizing it. We're comparing ourselves to the folks that we want to be like, or that we want to replicate, and it's getting in our own way because we're not acknowledging how far we've come. We're not acknowledging the good that we're doing. We're not acknowledging the progress that we've made. And that in its own right is self-destructive and detrimental to your mental health and to your physical well-being. And heck, even spiritually, depending on what you're trying to improve. I was so caught up in trying to compare myself to those who were rightfully trying to help others that I was getting in my own way, and I was affecting my own progress. and I didn't even know it. Luckily, I had a nice conversation, and it sparked something in my head and made me realize, oh, I might need to take a step back. I'm spending an innate amount of time, once again, routinely taking in this information, hanging on every word, and trying to make sure I apply it to my life. And it's just like, okay, you're putting in the work. Do you need to have this extra stress on top of it? Nah, you don't. You don't. So, take that information, utilize the tools that we have, because we are blessed to live in this age of information. There are so many tools at our disposal that people in our past generations prayed that they would have access for, that they didn't even think was possible to have access to. Take this information and don't abuse it, but use it. Put it into a plan, put it into a system. If you're not applying it immediately, as you apply it, take it step by step, and most importantly, don't overindulge in your self-help vortex. Don't get caught up in that cycle to the point where you feel like you're drowning in it. Notice your progress. Notate it, document it if you can, if you feel like it, and just see the little steps along the way. And if you need to make adjustments, you need to make adjustments. But those two things that I mentioned, the first being that self-help in its own right can... Oh, just lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. What we're just talking about. What self-help can be a detriment in the sense of keeping up with the Joneses, but it can also be a problem in the sense of taking in all the information and not applying it, as I mentioned first. So, as you take in this information, make sure that you apply it to your life. Make sure that you're not getting a dopamine fix or getting satisfaction through the successes of others, but you're actually utilizing it to reach your goals. And then, of course, that you're not overindulging in it, that you're not relying upon it and getting in your own way because you are trying to compare yourself to those who are where you want to be. And like I said, I had no idea how much extra stress I was putting on trying to make certain things more successful or perfect, in certain aspects perfect. I had no idea. It's insane. So I had to take a step back and literally, yeah, one of the most chill weeks I've had in the sense of focusing on my goals, being in the present moment, and making sure that I was focused up. So, yeah, it's self-help is a great benefit, something that we should take advantage of to its fullest capacity. But just make sure that you apply it to your life, that you don't overconsume it, and that most importantly, that you don't get so caught up in comparing yourself to others that you get into your own way. It is a beautiful thing, and it deserves to be shared with the world because there's other people who need help and support. But at the point where it becomes a detriment, it's a very fine line. So don't allow that to be something that you don't reflect upon along your journey, because I'm still figuring stuff out. But proud of where I am, that's for sure. Definitely. So, anywho, I'm going to let y'all get back to your day. Appreciate your time, as always. Thank you for being here. Know that you are loved. Know that you are never alone. And know that you are stronger than you could ever imagine. Appreciate you being here. Take care now. Bye.